Hey YouTube, this is Bharat from ReadyReady's LLC. Today we are going to learn about basic dashboard creation, alerting setup, and notifications via Slack setup. For those who aren't aware of Slack, it's an enterprise level collaboration platform that organizations use in order to have a secure yet efficient collaboration across various teams and departments. Slack also integrates with most of the plugins and applications out there, so it's very easy to use for the developers as well. I would suggest you guys look into the previous video that was released on my channel for the setup of Grafana, Victoria Metrics, Telegraf, and Nginx Reverse Proxy. This will help you understand the components that we are dealing with today, and it will make your understanding better moving forward. So let's get started. Let's go to the Explore option first. So here I'll get a metrics browser, which shows a list of metrics that I can choose from a list of labels that I can choose from. And then from those labels values, I can choose, you know, which server I want, or maybe which label I want. So I can even group them by labels. Okay. So what we are going to do now is we'll go with a simple metric, which is the CPU usage metric. Let's go with CPU usage system. Let's select host name, could be anything, and as soon as I select that, you're not seeing this here because I didn't click use query. So let's select a host name from here, which is Phoenix 3, and then I click use query, and then I'll say CPU usage system. So it says it has only, it is showing only 20 time series, but it has around 40. So let's assume it has 40 V cores, CPU cores. So we cannot wait. We cannot actually visualize so many cores at a time. So what we could do is we could say CPU is equal to CPU total, and then we can just query that. So this is the total CPU usage of the system. We can also get an average from here by using the average function. And then you see you get the average usage based on the past 1 hour. Okay, and that is around 9.17. So let's visualize this into a dashboard. I'll click on the plus button, and then I'll click on dashboard. So first things first, let's give this dashboard a name. Let's say Phoenix monitoring. Phoenix is a location, and then I can also give tags here as to which for you to be able to identify, and then you can also select or create more folders and assign each dashboard to its own folder. Okay, let's save this dashboard. Now we are in the dashboard. Let's add a new panel. So this plus button here, add a panel. Now here what I'll say is CPU usage percent. Okay, and the title will change, as you can see. Now I'll say CPU usage system, and then host name is equal to Phoenix 3. Okay, and then I'll say I want only the total usage. Okay, now this is coming in percentage, but you're not seeing the percent symbol on the y-axis. So what we can do is we can go to standard options. We can choose the unit over here. So we'll say percent. You can select from 0 to 100, and then you can also have a lot of options apart from this. Anyway, so now we are seeing the percentage over here, right? So minimum can be 0, maximum can be 100. Okay, you can set your own thresholds. Yeah, so now if you see, this tooltip seems to be too long. It's giving too much information out. We don't want that. We only need the name of the server that we are looking in the metric of. So what we can do is we'll say go to the legend format, open two flower brackets, and just say host name, and then close it. If you want the IP, if you have set it in your Telegraf, you can add it here as well. So you can say IP. You see, That's how you do it. And this is the total CPU usage that we are looking at. Okay, so that's done. And then you have options for transparent backgrounds or maybe gray hues, all that stuff. And let's close the panel options, the tooltip option. So let's say currently it's only one metric or one server, but what if you're having multiple servers? If you want to see the tooltip for all the servers, then it is going to be difficult. But for that, you can just say all. Go to the tooltip option, click all, and let me show you how you can make use of it. So your CPU usage system host name is equal to Phoenix 04. CPU is equal to CPU. So now when I actually go, if you see every point of the data, I'm able to get both the metrics in the same tooltip. So I'll just copy this again and paste it here. That's changed. Yeah. Now, what if you are using a particular naming convention and want everything to show up within a single query instead of writing multiple queries? What you can do is you can put a negation mark. That is what I know it's called, but I'm not sure what it's called exactly. And you can say, you can write a regex. So phoenix dot star. And once you query, you'll get all the host names that are available with that particular naming. That's the only regex I'm aware of. So that's the only thing I'm going to show, unfortunately. But as time moves forward, maybe I'll make more tutorials on the regex part and how to make your life easy. So this is how it looks, right? So, and let's go to the next option, graph styles. So here it's a line graph. If you want, you can maybe go for the different kind of metric data points kind of thing. This is more of a styling related section. So you can always make sure that connect null values is always true, because it will help you connect your data points even if they're missed. Show points always or auto, whatever it is, leave it as it is. Stack series normal. So if you see normal, it is going to go up to 100%. But if it's not in 100% usage and you see this kind of graph, you're actually baffled. Okay, so let's go with off. You'll have your series. If you think this is too much, you can go back to your what do you say, standard options. You can just remove the minimum and the maximum, and the graph will scale on its own, like based on the percentage. So you can just do minimum 0 and leave it as it is. Okay, so this is how it can be done. So I'll still let it do the 0 minimum and 100 maximum. Change the field or the series name is not needed. You can select your palette, the color palette as you need. So that's gone. What to show when there is no value? You don't need to fill this. Okay, so this is done. Thresholds. Now, so let's say if you want this graph to turn red as soon as it crosses a particular threshold. Let's say if I say if it crosses 2%, to make the graph like red or make the lines red. So that will actually happen, though it's not quite visible right now. It can happen. So let's not use the threshold here. Thresholds can be used for different kind of graphs, like the gauge graph, something like that. So remove the threshold. And then there comes the value mappings. I'm not quite sure what it exactly does, as I haven't quite come across using this. So I'll make another video maybe covering this. Even I'm not sure about the data links. So standard options have been covered. The access part is You can have the axis to the left or the right. This is up to you. This is for the y-axis. And label is not needed usually, but if you want, you can set it. And you can set the grid lines to disappear or appear. It's all totally up to you. So this is all styling part. Okay, so that's about it. So I'll apply this, and I'll say save. Yeah. So this is how it looks after save. Now, what if I want to create an alert from this? Say any server goes above um, X amount of percent of CPU usage. What alert should I create? So the current alerting format for Grafana is classic, math, reduce, resample. The classic one is a very basic automatic one. So when you say when the average of A being the CPU usage here is about 3, then you need to give me an alert. Yeah. So it would say if it's about 3, then the value will be 1. Yeah. So let's say if it's about 10, then give me an alert, and then you click run queries. This will become 0, most probably. So has anything crossed 10? Oh, something has crossed 10. Let's say 50%. So it's 0. So what we are saying for the alert conditions, we'll say if condition B evaluated every minute for the past 5 minutes is actually greater than 0, then we'll throw an alert. So, and if there is no data, we'll still throw an alert. If there is an execution error or timeout, we'll still throw an alert, and we'll click on preview alert. If you see, currently the state is normal because nothing is over 50. But what if I say 11? There should be 1 or 2, maybe not. Let's go with 10. Run queries. Yeah, there's something above 10. Then I'll click preview alerts. Now here you see we are getting this metric value here. Yeah. So you cannot actually work with this when it comes to, I mean, it will work, it will send you an alert, but if you want to visualize it or make it understandable for your end users, then it's not possible from the classic condition. This is not documented anywhere. I had to search and search and eventually find it in a GitHub issue that classic condition doesn't support variables, usage of variables in the alert notification. So let's introduce math and reduce. First things first, we got a raw collection of data here, okay, with certain conditions. And then what we'll do is we'll reduce that data to get the mean value of it. So let's say if the average of A is what we get, and we run the query. So what it does is for each host, it gives me a single item query value. Okay, so this is an expression. It's not a query, it's an expression. So I'll add another expression. I'll say when I'll do the math, this is basically doing the same classic condition, but with reduce in between. We'll say for each host that reduce sends me, if the value is above 10, give me an alert. So I'll say if $B is greater than 10, give me an alert. So run queries. Stat is just, as you can see, if you can correspond the data here and here, you see all the hosts are 0, but this particular one is coming down to 1. And then if I go to preview alerts, it will say that I'm getting all this data, but if I move to the end, it says the state is alerting. Why? Because we are still evaluating condition B. Let's move it to C. C is what we created right now, right? So we'll preview the alerts once again. Okay, and now it would say these are all normal, but I want to see the alerting part. So here it is, the alerting. Now, if you see, it has two series of data. One is variable C and one is variable B. We always get the value from variable B. Okay, we cannot use the value here. We can only use the value here. Now, how do I convert this into a meaningful alert name? Okay, I'll scroll down. I'll remove the dashboard UID, the panel UID. I'll just add two new data options. I'll say a summary of the alert and the runbook. Let's say. So let's say we have a Jira link, jira.atlassian.com, and or Confluence for that matter. Let's say document CPU plus usage plus alert, something like that. So a general Confluence link, and I'll say flower brackets labels dot host is reporting a CPU usage percentage or CPU usage of values B dot capital value percentage for the last 5 minutes. And I'll say these are labels. So you could say location could be Phoenix, client could be 5VPS or someone. And then you just select a folder. Okay, and here the rule name would be high CPU usage. Okay, so once this is done, I'll save and exit. Okay, let's go back. Let's refresh. We'll go to the alert rules. If you see in the 5VPS folder, I have this alert ready. So this is the alert, and if it triggers, we need it to go to a particular channel or maybe a particular a particular channel or a particular person or whatever it is. So what's the next thing? Next thing is we need to configure contact points. Contact points are like recipients for alerts. So I'll just say click new contact point. There are many options here. You can choose a webhook, you can choose Victrops, you could choose Telegram, Slack, PagerDuty, Pushover, Opsgenie, email, Discord, and whatever. So let's go with Slack. I already have made one. It will not show you the token, but this is a Slack bot token that you get when you create a small app or something like that. Next, this is not required to be filled, but if you want, feel free to do that. These options are still there. And then you have the test option. Click on test, and then I'll say this is my Slack. So let's say I want an alert here, so I'll just put a sample alert here. If you see, this is a test alert. Okay, now this is a custom template, the way it's firing, but removing the template and saving the contact point, by default you don't get that. So test, send test notification, you get something like this. You see the value that we were seeing in the alert section and the value that you see in the alert section is correlating with this one here. Yeah, so this is not quite readable, is it? And the labels keep pulling up, the annotations keep pulling up. This is not quite readable. So what can we do? Now that is where templating comes in. Anyway, that's for the next section. So this is a test notification. You send a test notification this way, and then let's say you want only a particular kind of alerts to go there, like anything related to a particular client should go into a particular channel. That is what you think you need, right? So what you can do is you can go to notification policies, a new policy. You can match labels. So you can say client is equal to yes, then choose the contact point ready Slack and save. So if this particular client has any alert, then it will come to the Slack. But what if you want to do one for every channel? Then for that, you would have to create multiple contact points with the same token, but you have to mention a different channel every time. So recipient can change from alerts to maybe fire VPNs, or you can change to any other client that you have, right? So that is one way to do it. For now, this is the alerts. So we'll save that. And the notification policy also is saved. Just go back to the alerts. This is now pending for 3 minutes. So if its evaluation passes for the 5 minutes, it will send me an alert. Now you see there are multiple servers here, and it says it is pending for this one. So if you see, the summary now is replaced, the variables are replaced with actual data. So IOF blah 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 is reporting a CPU usage of X amount of percent for the last 5 minutes. So this is the message that you will receive in your Slack. So let's wait. So while this is happening, let's go to our next topic, which is the templating. This is something that no YouTube channel has covered so far. I've had very much tough time, dealing with this because the looks of the alerts were very bad by the default template. So let's go with the template that I've made for Slack. So this is a very basic template. I've made it quite readable. Anyone who is into programming can maybe understand with the so it starts with defining certain sections, yeah, defining certain sections, and then using those sections, so and passing the data to them. So if you have alerts that are firing, you're passing them on to this specific section. So Slack default message. If you have alerts that are resolved, then you're passing them to this specific section, which is the resolved. Yeah. So that is how it happens. To give an explanation, let's start with a new template. Okay. So just before we go ahead with this template, let me show you how the default works. So I'm in PWD. I'm in varlib grafana alerting folder 1. The templates that I made there will end up coming here. So the default one being this. Let's see how it's written. So I'll use V for the sake of it. So if you see, this is how they've written it. I mean, this is a more neater, no, this is the way they have written. Yeah. So if you see, they're doing the value string over here instead of actually parsing the values. So this is something I've replaced. But anyway, the way this should be written in this file for general understanding should have been this. Yeah. So if you see, I'm defining a section called subject. Yeah. And in that, I'm opening a square bracket, closing it. And within that square bracket, so everything that is passed on to this section comes from a dot, an object. So dot status would be the status, and then function would be to uppercase. So this will change to uppercase. So it's something like that. Now, if equals to status dot status firing, then what they are doing is they're putting a semicolon here. They're saying the length of alerts, number of alerts firing, and end. And then they're closing this square bracket. So anyone who is into programming would probably understand this, but if I have to place it correctly, then if like this, and then maybe like this. So every if has an end, every define has an end. Okay, so this is the basic idea. So let's start doing a template, and maybe then you'll understand what I'm trying to say. So I'll say define the template subject or the alert subject. Okay, and I'll end it here. I'll say now how do I want it to look? So I'll say let's see, if I want to add any sort of if I want to add any sort of particular data or something like that, then I can do it from within these sections. So let's say I don't want to use the square brackets. I want to use something like firing. So if status is equal to like if equal to dot status firing, I'll say, and then end. Let's take it in. And then I'll open and close the bracket. And in this bracket, I'll say I want the name of the alert. So I'll say dot labels dot alert name. And then I have to close this in the flower brackets as well. Okay, so labels and alert name. And then how do I pass every alert through this section? So I'll say, I'll give a definition. I'll define the name of this template. I'll say alert template. I'll end it. And then I'll say, I'll do a for loop, and for loop in this is like a range. Yeah. So range end. I'll say if dot alerts dot firing, then I'll do another end here. I'll send it through let's say the subject. I mean, if I want to send it through the subject, I would have to like forward it as a template. So now this part also becomes a template. So I have to reference to it as a template. The name of the template is, let's say, alert underscore subject. And I'll close it and I'll forward dot alerts firing. Yeah. So dot alerts dot firing. That's you know how I send it usually. So that is the basic gist of it. But what you could do is you can just reference this in the Slack contact point or as well. So if you go to the contact points and edit it here, you have an option to just specify it here. Template alert subject dot. So that's how it will be. Yeah. So coming back to our templating. So if status is firing, then it will say firing alert name. But if status is equal to resolved, I'll say resolved dot labels dot alert name. Okay, so that is one section of the template. I don't need to pass this here, but yeah, that's about it, I guess. Let's see. Okay, so alert template, alerts firing. You can also do alerts resolved. And I'll save the template. And now what I'll do is I'll edit my contact point. I'll say template, alert template, and I'll save it. And then I'll try to maybe send a test notification. If you see, 1 second. Oh, we already had our previous alert here. If you see, there's a high CPU usage person going on here. The alert summary, the alert runbook, the labels, and the source of the alert. And if you want to silence it, then the silencing link. So you can also mute alerts. Okay. So coming back to our template, so it's alert template, and this template would be you see how I passed the dot over here. That dot will contain all the objects of the alert, so that's why it was added that way. Okay, so let's just remove this part. Okay, so here if you see the firing part came, but it didn't complete. That's because most probably I've done something wrong. So if status, okay, the status is not coming from the default object because we have already taken the alerts part here. So I think we'd have to do, for each alert, we have to do maybe like this, a template alert subject dot. So maybe doing a range on alerts dot firing. We'll just save this. We'll just try to send a, oh yeah, that worked. So if you see firing test alert. So this is the alert name. This is the firing that we have written. Now this is the usual subject. I mean, if you're passing the title of the alert within this template, then it will come as a body. But if you do the same over here, template alert subject, And if you reference it to the um, section in the alert template that you have done earlier, then it would read something like um, range alerts firing the alert template, and then end it here, and then save it, then edit it once again, and then once send a test alert. That quite didn't come as I expected. So most probably the range functions are not working here. Oh yeah, I forgot to give a dot. Okay, so let's save this. Let's try once again. And now if you see, even the title is getting the same output. So whatever name you give in your templates, it's a very unique name. You cannot expect to actually, how can I say this? You cannot expect to change the, you cannot expect to reference your title from within the body. So this has to be separate and this has to be separate. But that is for the Slack contact point. For any other contact points, you're not able to mention templates. I think you can only, for email, for example, you don't have an option to use a template. Yeah. You can only use variables here. Then comes maybe Discord. Discord has a template, but if you go to something like Victrops, then that doesn't have a template. If you go to something like Telegraf, then that doesn't have a template. So there are only very few notification contact points that you can use template for. For all the others, the default ones go. So it's better if you're standardizing on a particular kind of template, then it's better to edit the default template file in the varlib Grafana alerting folder. So that's all about the templating part. I'll leave my template that I've created for Slack in the GitHub for you guys to have a reference. I hope that helps, and maybe you guys can share better templates moving forward. Next comes the oh yeah, we already covered the notification policy. So client is equal to fire APS, we can send it to this contact point. So there's a specific routing based on the labels as well. Okay, and you can also configure the number of like you can have waiting options and all that stuff. The timing options section here, or if you edit this, then you don't have timing options for multiple policies, routing policies, but the root policy can have timing options. I think they'll bring the timing option for the other policies as well, but currently this is what it is. Okay, and then comes the silencing part. So you can actually go to one of your alerts and silence them. You can just click silence. You can say a duration of 2 hours, 4 hours, or whatever. This is very helpful during maintenance windows where you can expect certain alerts to pop up. So that's when you can use the silence option. Alert groups. So it's like grouping all your alerts based to specific criteria. Let's say all your alerts related to CPU usage can be grouped by a particular tag or label or something like that. So this is all self-explanatory. Currently, in this tutorial, I'm not going to cover the alert groups. And let's see. We don't have anything else to cover. You can have external alert managers or something. And I haven't tried this option yet. So once I do, I'll surely get back to you with another video. So that's it for today, guys. I hope that was helpful covering the alerts part. If you want me to cover anything else, then do let me know and I'll do that. Thank you.